Performing in a marching band is not only the most physically demanding, but is also the most technically demanding within terms of music. Um, Mainly because with marching band, they try to be as pizzazz as possible, much like jazz band. The only difference is that there is more movement involved, thus making it more difficult to play in tune. You're gonna be playing with about 200 to 400 people, depending if your marching band is in a high school or in a college band. For example, when I was at Timber Creek High School, my marching band was around 240 plus, and then here at UCF, the marching band here was 400 plus, and it was really overwhelming. There are moments where you will get a spot in the show, and then moments where you won't get a spot in a show. That all depends on your technical prowess and your physical aptitude in terms of marching. Um, Before we start with music, we're gonna go ahead and begin with the basics of marching itself. As you can see, I'm actually directly outside the marching band practice facility. We're gonna go ahead and focus on posture for marching before we go over the basic techniques. So I'm going to be standing right back here. Hopefully my voice will project loud enough for you all to hear. When you're performing in a marching band, your posture has to be nearly perfect, as what my high school marching band director would say, 60-40 posture. So you will actually stand perfectly straight, almost as if you were about to start walking. Hands up, almost as if you were clenching a fist. And that would be your posture. It seems simpler than it sounds. Unfortunately, it also depends on not your physical prowess, but it's more of how your back is straight in terms of your medical perspective. When I say medical perspective, it means that there are moments where people with back issues can have trouble standing in a 60-40 posture for marching band. I've seen certain people with scoliosis that would not be able to march marching band for that specific technicality. And there were moments when people did have scoliosis or another back issue. They just powered on through, and they were able to work with the techniques that they learned and the medical history that they have. With the posture learned, it's gonna take time for you to recognize that you can't have your back hunched like this up close. It has to be completely straight, shoulders back, and relaxed. And now for the basic movement. When marching forward and backwards is going to be an 8 to 5 step, meaning you're going to march 8 steps for every 10 yards. Alright, that means it's 8 steps to every 5 yards. My apologies. That means you'll be moving 4 steps to every 2.5. So if you're moving to the 10-yard line, to the 15-yard line, that's 8 steps right there. 15 to 20, that's another 8, and so on and so forth. Allow me to show you how it's done. I will be using the concrete as my markers, so every 2 blocks is going to be my 5-yard line. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And now we do backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4. When marching, your feet are going to be have to be as curved up as possible. It's not like walking. Okay, so as of right now, I am walking normally. That's not marching. Especially when you're in a competition band, your points will get docked for the entire band if one person is out of line. So watch as I go ahead and move slowly within an 8 to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Your toes have to be completely curved as possible. As I'm stepping with my left foot, you have to push off with your right. So that way, when you make that one step, your left toe is at the tip as high as possible, and your platforms on your right are still touching the ground. As your Achilles heel, as it were, goes ahead and lifts up from the ground. With backwards marching, your both heels are going to be off the ground, and you're actually going to keep those more straight. Starting from up here. See those steps? See how both my platforms are still on the ground, and both my Achilles heels are lifted off. That is how you do the backwards march. So I'll go ahead and repeat the sequence within a 3-step interval, front and back. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Pull. The shoes are a significant aspect for marching band. As of right now, I'm actually wearing my Vans. However, they should be fine for rehearsal purposes, but in terms of performances, they are not regulation at all. What you want to do is purchase some marching band shoes by the brands of either Dinkles, DHS Vipers, or Drill Masters. Those are the shoes that are highly recommended for a marching band. Now, when moving in marching band, there is actually a specific movement when you can move to the side with where your body's still up front. That is known as a slide. So allow me to show you from back there. When you're in a slide motion for marching band, you're still going to keep that 60-40 posture. However, it's going to be very different because you're actually going to turn your body. So I'm going to stand this way, and I'm going to show you the position for right slide. You're going to turn your body where your waist is around 45 degrees and your upper body is around 90 degrees. And you have to pull your shoulders back in order to achieve this pose. It'll be much similar for the left side. When marching in slide motion is going to be very, very strenuous if you don't exercise your upper body and so forth. This is mainly because you're actually pulling the muscle as you move into the slide motion. When I first did the slide motions, it felt very, very weird, and I felt very sore after the first few rehearsals. But once I kept practicing at it, it's going to be very, very simple. I want to show you guys a technique drill technique that should be able to help you in this with these motions, and that is known as the box drill. When learning the box drill, it's going to be a forward A, a right slide A, backwards A, and then a left slide A. Now, it could get difficult depending on how fast or slow the tempo is, but I'm going to go ahead and take it at a very steady pace, so that you viewers can go ahead and get an easy understanding for it. So you would actually go ahead and start right here. For the sake of spacing, I'm going ahead and do 4 steps instead of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Slide. 1, 2, 3. Slide. 1, 2, 3. Slide. 1, 2, 3. Step. Hold. This is the easiest technique that should be able to assist you in marching. There are moments where it can get difficult. Trust and believe, within time, practicing either on solid ground or difficult uneven grass, it should get very easy. Now, let us begin with the music interpretation. Music in marching band varies with different instruments. In high school, there can be certain restrictions on instruments. For example, when I was at Timber Creek, there were no trombones allowed in marching band, so I would have to go ahead and learn the marching baritone, which was not so much of a difficult task, but it was hard because it was all valves. There was no slides or anything. And then with the marching nights here at UCF, they did have trombones, but for the sake of nostalgia, I wish to marching baritone again. This instrument right here is the marching baritone. Some people would consider this a euphonium, but it's actually not. A marching euphonium is actually a little bit bigger, almost like a contrabass tuba, if you will, for marching band. You can see that there are 3 valves. If you know concert euphonium, this should be very easy. If you have a 3 valve, or if you have a 4th valve, it could be difficult because you're used to having your pinky within the 4th valve of your concert euphonium. The difference between marching trombone and marching baritone is not so much in tonality, because they actually give almost a similar sound projection. It's a matter of fingerings as well as music notation, as in there are moments where the trombone parts would be almost exactly the same as a marching baritone, but then there are moments where it's like a register on marching trombone and marching baritone could be either a third, a fifth, or an octave apart. As you see the curvature of the baritone, it actually has much more metal towards it than a trombone, meaning you're gonna have to project more air as you're playing, especially since you're playing outside for marching band. That also means you have to take in more air, because you're gonna be moving around whatever tempo, and as you move, you're releasing less air over time. So you need to go ahead and take in more air so you can compensate for both playing and moving. So I wish to show you a basic exercise that would help me warm up for marching band. This warm-up is known as warm-up number 6. It's meant to be the E-flat major scale in articulated patterns. So so that means is that you're going to be tonguing every single note, because these notes are staccato, meaning spaced. So here is warm-up number 6. Given the weather that is out right now, it is actually very cloudy and humid. Playing outside is also going to determine whether or not your sound is good or not. This is because depending on the weather, when it's cold, or cloudy, your sound is going to be flat. But then when it's sunny and beautiful, your sound is going to be sharp. When a saying that my professor, not my professor, my high school teacher would say in high school marching band is that it's better to be flat on purpose than sharp on accident. Meaning is that because of the mass numbers that we have in marching band, that if you're sharp, you're going to be playing out more. You want to be able to hold back a bit, so that way you're not over projecting the entire section, if not the whole band. Excuse me. When it comes to performing with others, is always good for communication. For example, with warm up number 6 that I did just now, we always communicated in doing it in a unique way. So what we did for it is that for number 6, we would have 2 groups out of 32 baritones. One of them would go ahead and play as is, but then another one would come in 2 measures afterward. Therefore, it would be much so that we would be playing in thirds. So I just went ahead and did the first 2 measures of the warm-up number 6. After the F measure, that is when the second group would come in. Allow me to explain. That's how it's done. So as the second group comes in with the E flat major, the first group is actually going to be playing the G chord. Because the E and G are the two E flat and G are the 2 chords that make up the E flat major key. Now that you all have learned the potential basics for marching band, there are several movements that may get difficult when it comes to playing. For example, we have this warm-up called F tuning that is known for hand movements for UCF marching band, and you actually going to move your horn as you play. I'm going to go ahead and play the last 4 measures so you all can understand what I mean. If you heard very carefully, my sound was actually swerving as I was playing. My mouth was actually moving out of the mouthpiece as I was playing the marching band music. That is bound to happen when you're playing any song when it comes to marching band, because now it drastically changes the color, it drastically changes the tone, and it just doesn't sound right. So what I would do is that you would practice that very slowly as you would and then increase to the proper tempo later on as you get used to it. I'm gonna go ahead and show you another horn motion within a song called Cold Hearted from the Rolling Stones. It's just gonna be the horn motion that's going to be in a figure eight or an infinity sign, if you will. And I'll be sure to take it as slow as possible. Even as you're moving, you're not only your sound will get better, but you're also gonna have to take account into the fingerings. Like just now, I actually missed a couple notes when playing Cold Hearted during the hand motions, and that's also because it depends on memorization. You have to memorize the music for marching band, because if you don't, then it's going to be a drastic hardship for you. So let's go ahead and look through Cold Hearted again. See, that was a little bit better. I still missed a couple of notes, but it was a lot better. My sound was, even though it was still flat because of the weather, it projected so much more. Right. And it's gonna be like that the more you do this. When high school, you're gonna have a full, almost a full year to do marching band. Compared to here at UCF, you're gonna have only one semester. And the difference is that with high school marching band, you perform only one show. With college marching bands, depending on where you go, you're gonna be learning to at least up to 5 to 7 shows, and that's constant memorization, constant practice, and such. There are moments where you're gonna have access to a marching band practice facility, like this one right here. However, because we're outside in their small parking lot, we do not have access this time, especially with the impending storm that's coming our way. Your professor will give you permission to march on a practice field, or even stay after rehearsal to work on extra stuff. It's going to be, it's very not only intriguing, but it's also very enduring. You have to exercise when you're performing in marching band. So what exercises that can help you would be within the upper chest, the triceps, which are the upper arm muscle, as well as your thighs and your calves. The best way to do this, at least this is how I would prefer, is to do cardio at least 30 minutes a day, burning at least 200 to 250 calories. The best way to do that is to either just go out on a jog or run a mile around the track at your local school, or if you have a gym membership, go ahead and run on a treadmill or do a cycler, or or you can go to a local center and run up a couple flights of stairs every now and then. Any exercise is gonna help when building your body for marching band. And when it comes to the upper arm, the triceps, the best way to do that would be simple push-ups and weight lifts. Not weight lifts like you do in weightlifting competitions. No, because that would be too strenuous. The best way to do that is to take 10 to 8 pounder weights and then just do arm curls just like that. You can always stop by your local dollar store or a local Five Below and just pick some up for either $2 to $5, or you can stop by your local sporting goods store such as Dick's or Academy, and you can go ahead and purchase a set for $25. And in addition, the best way another way to build up your upper body strength is to hold up your horn. When you hold up your horn, it's a very inducing exercise. So allow me to explain. So in high school, I went ahead and did an exercise known as the Circle of Death, or the Circle of Enlightenment, as people would make fun of it for. It's known to be an exercise where it's not much of a punishment, it's more of a test of endurance. Because you're holding up your horn for a significant amount of time when you're marching. So it could either be at attention or horns up when doing this exercise. But most likely it will be horns up, because that's what the position you'll be at for the majority of the show. So you will actually go ahead and hold up your horn, head up, just like that, and you will actually time yourself on how long you can hold up your horn. I've had records where I would do 5 minutes at the start, and over time you can go ahead and do up to 8 to 10 minutes of horn holding. It is a stressful exercise, but it is going to help you, and you can always set a different goal each day. Like either say, oh, go ahead and do 5 minutes of horn holding in the circle of death, or as it would just be you, it would just be the standalone of death. Excuse me. Or you could set a penalty for yourself, like say, oh, you don't reach 5 minutes, you go ahead and do 10 push-ups or run a lap. That's how I was able to get good and improve on horn holding for shows. Marching band is a very may not be for everyone. There are several people here at UCF that just do concert bands and not dare bother with marching band. And there are several moments where some people would say that marching band is not a real band, but that is somewhat testable, as it were. It's very argumentative for a statement like that, because most marching band a career? Not so much, no. But there are jobs where you can do a marching band gig in like a Disney park or something, and that the experience you gain in high school or college can actually assist you in moments like that. It just depends on what it is that you want to do for your future. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all next time.